What's up, guys? Welcome back. I am here today with brand new MVP Geetha Sivasalam. Did I say that right?
You nailed it. You got it
Boom! Okay,
perfectly
good.
right.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome to the channel, Geetha. This is your first time.
Yes, it is. I'm
That
super
is
excited for it.
awesome. I am so excited too. So, for those of you that don't know Geetha, like I said, brand new MVP in the business application space. She's a pro at Power Apps. She's a pro at Flow. She is a pro at the platform. She's a consultant. She is all over the place. So, I am actually going to go ahead and, in a second, let her fully introduce herself. But before that, I'm actually very excited to announce this is something that I've been requested a few times since the announcement of UI flows. A few people have had this idea. Oh man, we should use UI flows to test our Power Apps. And so that's what you're here to do today, right? Show us
Yeah,
how to use a UI flow to test your Power Apps.
that's exactly what we're going to see today.
That's amazing. Okay, all right. So Geetha, I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet. Go ahead and take it away. Introduce yourself and bring us into how to use UI flows for this.
Thank you, John, for the introduction. And thanks for having me. This is a great opportunity for me to be able to share what I have been playing around with UI Flow so far. And so I work for Artist Consulting, and I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. And I am a power addict and an enthusiast of all things Office 365, Azure, Power Apps, Power Automate, entire Power Platform stack, and IoT as well. And I am a frequent blogger too, and I frequently tweet about my findings and things that I like to share with the community. So feel free to follow me on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is right there. It's at GSIBED, and that's
Yes.
my blog post, swagupwordpress.com.
And we will have those links down in the description so you can click them very easily.
Oh, I'm going to swap over the presentation to my main monitor
All right.
because UI flows kind of don't support dual monitors at the
Okay.
moment. So
Cool.
I'm going to just swap that over just so we have a good experience while we demo it. So let me do that quickly, and then we can start talking about good introduction of UI flows and then what we're going to be showing today.
Awesome.
Okay, so here we are. I am sharing my main monitor right now, and we're going to talk about the recent unified automation platform announcement that happened over at Ignite. And one of the biggest things was RPA for desktop and web using UI flows. And what that pretty much means is you now have the capability to record and play back interaction on a desktop application or a web application. Now, when I say human interaction, that is basically any mouse or keyboard input and outputs that can be captured, and you can automate the entire process without you actually having to do it manually.
Yep.
And now this also helps cover scenarios where you don't have access to APIs or any legacy systems that do not support APIs, or even legacy systems that do support APIs as well, or if your flows cannot talk to APIs. So, it can automate all those processes, whether it's on a web or if it's on a desktop.
Yep. Yep. All that legacy stuff.
Yes, I think that this is a game changer. It opens up a lot of sophisticated use cases that you can work on.
Totally.
So for this video today that we're looking at, we're going to be walking through the web UI in specifics. So I'm going to be focusing on how you can automate your testing or unit testing of your Power Apps. So we're going to take a look at a scenario where I have a sample template that I downloaded from the Power Apps template. It's the service test template that I have, and we're just going to walk through how I can test a creation of a service request using that template app.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep. Now, before we get started, there are a few prerequisites you want to know to be able to use UI flows. Now, I'm on the Power Automate portal right here, and you can see that I have a tab for UI flows, and which is in preview. Now, if you actually go to My Flows, and if you go to the new dropdown over here, you will not see that as an option since it's still in preview. But the way to get to it is to actually go to the section for UI flows in preview, and you should be able to start creating a new one from the button at the ribbon at the top. Now, to
Awesome.
be able to create UI flows, there are a couple of things that you need to have installed. Now, you do need to install the UI Flow installer on your desktop. and complete the installation. And then what that does is actually it adds an extension to your browser. So you have to manually go in and activate that installation on your browser. And if you don't do these, and if you actually start and create a new one, it will still prompt you, telling you that, hey, you're missing those extensions, so which is a good thing as well.
Yep. And good news is I have a video that by the time this one is out, that one will be out. There's instructions in that video on where to download the gateway, where to download the UI Flows installer, and all that goodness. So I'll go ahead and link that in the description. When you get to this part and you're wondering where to get all that stuff, go ahead and check out that other video.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. And so I have them installed now. I went through the process of installation. Now, I did notice that sometimes it does throw an error, so don't worry about it. You just go uninstall and reinstall it, and then it just works just fine.
Yep.
Um, and so this is just for the desktop UI, right? These are the basic prerequisite installations that you need. But if you want to start using RPA on web applications, you do have an additional installation that you need to be installing, which is the Selenium IDE. And that is an open source tool that you can use to record and play back any human interaction on websites, like clicking on things and providing input and capturing output and things like that.
Yep. Totally.
Yep. So I'm gonna go click on the new to create a new button at the top ribbon over here that you see to create a new UI flow, and you can see that we have two options: desktop, and then there's the web. Now the desktop version actually is to be able to automate any human interaction on any of your desktop apps. For example, let's say you have a calculation that you want to perform. You can use this option, go in, open up the calculator tool, and provide inputs and outputs, and actually get an calculated output and track that as well. Or you could do something pretty sophisticated as opening up Paint 3D or updating an image, adding some custom content or dynamic text over it, or even traversing or parsing through lines of rows in your Excel sheet, and maybe updating a Word document or an SOW to template that you have, and just makes it easier, right? You just have your Excel document living on your desktop. You just open it up, just go through, record your steps where you go in and click through each row, and then start populating the Word document. So it's up to your imagination of how you want to use this with desktop
Totally.
flow.
I'm already coming up with all kinds of things. I want to try and use it to make graphics for social media. I want to try and make it do video editing workflows for me. I have all sorts of crazy ideas already for that one.
Oh yes, yes. I've been going crazy with it. It's been so exciting playing around with it. It takes away a lot of those manual work that you would do. And
Totally.
yeah, and I've been trying to like play around with adding to-do items, and then like playing around with, like, just like you said, automating some of those graphic updates and things like that. But yeah,
Cool. Cool.
that's awesome. So the second type is the web app based UI flow. And you can see that it does tell you that it only supports Microsoft Edge Chromium or Google Chrome. So this is the one that we're going to focus on today. So let's go click on that. Let's hit next. And it has a little carousel here that talks you through, how you can record your multi-step tasks, and then how that Selenium IDE actually looks like, and how the recording works with that third-party provider.
Nice.
So before we start filling this out, I'm going to quickly show you the app that we're going to be testing, just to give you a background of what we're going to be testing. So here is the service desk template that I downloaded, which is available for you to download from the Power Apps templates. This
Mm-hmm.
basically is for you to just create new tickets, and you can track the status of the tickets, and mark them complete, and perform actions on it. So what I'm going to test here is the creation of a new service desk ticket. So here's how you would go create a new one. You click on that little plus button, and then you have these options for you. You have a couple of drop-down options set by default. I intentionally set that up because I've noticed that with UI flows, when you automate them, they do take a little bit longer to actually, go in and traverse to that specific drop-down choices, and fill them out. Just
Yep.
for timing purposes, I'm just defaulting them to certain values so we can speed up the demo.
Okay.
So here we have, so like we have a ticket number right here. So this shows me there's just one new ticket, and I can fill in like my name. I can provide a subject description, and then I can create my ticket. And then once it's created, you can actually see that it actually drops in a new ticket, and then you will see the counter increase here, which would say two new tickets, and we'll see that as part of our demo.
Awesome. This is a
So
cool
this
little
is the
app.
process that we want to try and test.
All right.
Yep. So let's get back to our flow. Now
The
here,
best
I'm going
part.
to give it a flow name. I'm going to call it my web UI flow demo. And now you want to be able to provide a URL just to let the UI flow know what web application are you really going to be recording your steps on.
Mm-hmm.
So for that purpose, I'm going to go to the Power Apps portal and actually grab the URL with the unique grid for that app, and we're going to add that. Now
Nice.
we have that. Now you see that little button, launch recorder. Now what that's
Yep.
going to do is actually open up that Selenium IDE extension that we installed already, that I already have installed. So it's just going to open that up. All right, so this is how that IDE looks like. Now, if you look at the very top left, you see that it actually calls it a project. So that's how your script for automating the testing or your actions that you take on a browser are actually combined into a parent component called a project. And that's how it gets stored as part of the UI flow as well. And at the middle here, you see the URL that I actually passed in at the time of creation. So
Yeah.
this is what tells Selenium that, hey, this is the URL you need to be opening up so that you can start recording or even tracking or capturing your inputs and outputs. And then, so here we have a little record button. And now, right now, you see that this is kind of like a tape tabular structure. It's got three columns: command, target, and value. Command has a couple of options here. The Selenium IDE, their API documentation has pretty good documentation on what each command does and how you can use it. But for this video, we're going to kind of focus on just how you can dynamically set inputs and outputs. And so you can set commands for that. And for example, let's say if you actually click on a specific control on the app, the command would say click, for an example. And then
Okay.
the target is to tell you what part or what section or area within that web app page have you clicked,
Got it.
right? That's what that's going to be. Now, and the value is going to tell you what value are you looking at. So
Okay.
here's where you can plug in your dynamic variables, or you can even try and capture them as an output and then relay them back once the test is complete.
I'm excited for this. This is so cool.
Yeah, so let's see how that's going to work. Now, what's going to happen is as soon as I hit record, it's going to try and open up that app for me.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start clicking around, and then we'll notice that it'll start tracking each and every action that I take with my mouse, and it's going to start filling this up. So you ready to get started with this?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's get started. I'm going to record, and then let's see, it actually did pull that up. So
Oh,
you see, it actually did pull up my app, right?
so cool.
Yeah, it did pull it up, and you can see that I have that extension up there, so it has access to the site. And now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go hit click, and then I'm going to start typing in my. I've seen that it does take a little bit of a time sometimes,
Okay.
uh, but just to capture that. But if we actually go back in there, we should see that the set of actions that it actually did. The very first step was to try to open that up. It set
Yep.
the window size, and then it selected the focus frame for that web app, and then it actually captured my click. Now, and you see the second click, it actually captured that I typed some text in it. So how cool
Yeah.
is that, right? It actually knows
That's
exactly
awesome.
what I'm doing. And it exactly knows which part specific element or control within the DOM that I'm actually making a change to. So let's go back. I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to set a subject. It does take a few seconds to relay back, but we can keep an eye on our IDE window right here. We should see that pop up too. So it So that was the first click when I tried to get the focus for the subject text box, and
Yep.
then it's gonna try and get the, there you go. So we see the demo that it actually picked up that I typed that in.
Nice.
And then now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try and type in a description, right? You got that, and you can, that's just an indication telling you that it's recording. It's still capturing whatever you're doing.
Okay.
And then what I'm gonna do is scroll to the bottom and I'm gonna create the ticket. And then when I actually created the ticket, you notice that it actually did increment the count by 2, right? So that
Yep.
tells me that it did, this test was successful. It actually was able to go to the back to the data source, submit this new request that I created, and it was able to return back that new submit and increment the counter. So we've got that. So now what we're going to do is go and stop this recording right here.
I love this. This stuff is so cool. The
It
desktop
is
version, the
really
web
cool, and you can
version.
imagine the level of automation that you can do for automating your testing.
Yeah.
This is just one test we're looking at. You
Right.
can add as many, you can add several other tests as well as part of this project and run them all together. You can have multiple unit tests for each functionality or business logic that you would want.
Ah, so there in the project, I could actually click that little plus sign and I could create additional
Yes,
tests within the project, and then they
that's
all
correct.
run
Yes.
as one flow.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can like duplicate this, and then you can add some more actions, record some more actions, or any other business process that you would want to, test as part of your automated testing, and it'll all be part of that project. So
Awesome.
next time you run, it's going to run it all together.
Super cool.
Yeah, and so here, the one thing you want to notice is, so when I go click on this one, this was the first text that I actually typed out, right? This is the created by field on that form, and I gave it a value, GS,
Yep.
right? So now we've recorded it. Now what I need to do is actually save it. So
Okay.
don't forget to save it, because that's the way to publish this back to the flow, the UI
Okay.
flow that we do. So we're going to save that. And when I save that, what it does is it actually creates the flow for me. So you
Hmm.
have it. That's the one that we created. Now, to rerun it, to test it with additional values, and you just go and edit it, and that will open up the Selenium IDE again. And it pulls back everything that you just saved, right?
Okay.
So now let's test it out. So I'm going to leave that as such. I'm going to change this to say 001, and then let's say this is 001, right?
Okay.
And then I'm going to change the speed to be somewhere in the middle, because it runs really fast. It's like before you can even it's kind of like just runs by so fast before you can even see what it's doing. So I'm going to
Really?
set it up to this speed.
So that's interesting because the desktop recorder runs at the speed that you perform the action. The web version here runs at a much faster speed, you're saying?
That is correct. Yes,
Okay,
it
okay.
does.
Cool.
With the desktop version, I've seen. It's probably. I guess it depends on if you have something else running on your machine. I've seen times where it's slower than the speed that you actually recorded it at. It does
Yeah,
take a
yeah.
bit
And
of
there's
time.
there's some options to mess with the timings
Yeah,
inside the
yeah,
desktop one, but yeah, by default it felt to me like it was trying to maintain the timings that we were getting
yes,
as inputs.
yeah. It's pretty intuitive when you actually look at
It's
it. It's
crazy.
almost like you have a ghost in your machine, doing everything.
Don't
Yeah, it's
release the
almost like,
ghost.
gosh, what's someone's controlling my machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've changed that, and to run it, so here are your options. You can run this test, and then this is an option to run if you have multiple tests in the same
Nice.
project. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. And so when I run this, you'll notice that it will open a new window with the app, and then it'll start going through each of those actions. So let's go hit play, and you should just watch. My mouse isn't moving, and it opened up the app, and it will go click on new, and then it'll start populating the fields. It has the new updated value that we just gave,
Look at
and
that.
it actually completed it.
Wow.
So you can see, and this tells me if it's green and each of those actions say okay, that is a perfect green signal to saying that your test ran just fine.
That is amazing. So now if we go to the app, we would see a third entry, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we should actually see that. I mean, but you know what? This app actually has static data, so it just does it just when you make a change. It doesn't really. It's the unit
Ah,
test, right? It's not really um, pushing it back.
okay, okay, okay. Got it.
Yeah,
But what we're doing is testing that the
the
functionality is
functionality.
working.
Yes, yes.
Got it.
You
Okay.
can, you can. I mean, if you really wanted to, you can also make it such that you actually test the data source as well. That you know that
Right,
you
right,
can include
right.
that as part of your test as well to make sure that every part of your process is evaluated and tested. But this is more like marking your test, right? You're just making sure the process has each and every bits and pieces of your process actually ran through fine.
That is so cool. I love how you can change the speed of it too, so that you can actually watch it happening and it doesn't
Oh
happen like
yeah,
lightning.
yeah, and yeah, that's I'm so glad that they have that because sometimes you want to actually watch what happens. Let's say you have certain other fields that you want to monitor while this test is going on. It gives you that option to actually change the speed so you can actually keep watching and monitoring other parts of the web app or screens while the test is functioning and progressing.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Wow. I can just imagine now, like, we have people in the community like Flo Joe, who is like an automation tester.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's his whole gig. I can just imagine the whole framework of testing that could
Oh
now
yeah,
be
yeah.
created for Power Apps.
Oh yeah, it's got a pretty impressive future with this. Yes.
So cool. Geetha, this is awesome. Thank you so much for showing us this.
Well, if we can actually take it one more notch up, I wanted to show
Can
you
we?
something even better that you can do with
Oh,
this.
let's do it. Let's do it. Show
Yes.
me.
So I already have a UI flow built out. Now, what I want to do is actually, so far we've just been seeing inputs, right? I was able to
Yep.
input, and I was able to just, and that gets translated into the text boxes in the app, and you can see the values. But now I want to be able to relay that output back. So how do I actually
Ah,
evaluate that my test ran successfully? I can see it
okay.
visually, but I want to quantify that. I want to be able to be sure that this process ran. It actually did go ahead and increment the number of tickets that I added.
Okay.
So let's go try that quickly.
Cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. So we have that. And so I have this is the one that I built out for, all right. So here, if you actually, it's using the same app. I just have a couple of more additional commands. So what
Okay.
I'm doing here is the first two commands are a way to actually initialize your variables. You can actually specify the
Mm,
variable and you can specify what the values need to be.
okay.
So I have that. So I'm just saying, okay, you know what? I want to use these variables, input subject and input description, so that when I run the test, I can actually just change it on the fly.
Nice.
So we have that. And then what I'm doing is, here's where we actually start typing out the subject line and the description for the ticket. So instead of hard coding the value, I'm using the variable, right?
Nice.
The advantage of this is now this is something that I'm still experimenting with. Now, this is where the gateway comes into play. So,
Okay.
we talked about how you need to have an on-premise data gateway if you want to be able to like trigger your UI flows from an event-based flow or a scheduled flow or a flow button.
Yep.
Then you do need to have a gateway installed, and you can call a UI flow from your event-based flow. So for that, if you have that, you can actually have your flows dynamically pass in parameters and values that you want to
That's
be testing your app with. And then you can capture the output back and send it back to the flow and make any kind of decisions you would want to do based off of those outputs. So that's what we have here.
that is amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. I mean, this is just the beginning, which is the variables. There's so much more you can do with testing. You can kind of
Yeah.
have really extensive testing packages built out. Kind of just automates your manual process of going in and testing the apps, you just package them up, and all you need to do is just click a flow button and your tests run, and you know that your update or your fix actually works.
Yeah, totally. That is super cool.
So yeah, so that's what I have here. So I'm just specifying the variables, and that's the format. So if you want to reference a variable, you have a dollar sign and then you have the curly braces, that's how you do that.
Yep.
And then now here is something that I'm actually doing a little bit different. So here's a command of type stored text. So what that does is you can actually select a specific target on the web app, a specific text box or a label, and it will capture the inner text, the text that's inside that control, and it will
Okay.
store that in this variable.
Wow.
So that's what it's doing.
And
Um,
so, judging by the name, you're going to grab the ticket count.
yes, so that's what we're going to do. So I want to be able
Super
to
cool.
return back the actual count, right?
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
so let's do this. So I'm just going to
Next
run.
level. Next
Yeah,
level.
let's just run this quickly and see what it actually comes back with. So right now the ticket is one. It's filling it out.
Look how
Then
fast it's going.
yes, it's yeah. I should have
No,
actually
no, no, no. That's okay.
speed,
It's good.
but
It's good
yeah,
to see the variable
yeah, it's
speed, I
pretty
think.
fast. That's the default speed it goes
Okay.
at.
I actually like that because it was not so fast that you couldn't see what was happening, but it doesn't take too long to tie up your
Yeah,
machine
yeah, true,
forever.
true, yeah. Now you can see that this test actually run perfectly fine. You have all the green OKs, and it says it completed. This last one actually tells me that it was able to capture the text value. But
Yep.
how do I see it, right? So what I'm going to do is just add another command, and to see it, we're going to use a command called echo, so that will actually relay back the value that you're trying to get back. And so let's go and add the actual that I'm going to add the variable that we just added. So we have that. And another good thing about this IDE is you can actually reorder the events. So all you do is just drag drop, and you can reorder them in the order that you would want to do. If you feel like, oh, you know what, I want this click to happen after I do something else.
Yep.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and play it. So I'm going to wait for it to quickly run through, and let's see if it actually gives me back the incremented ticket count. Created the ticket, and you can see that that's my last um, command, and
Awesome.
that actually has two in it. And what you can also do is, just copy and paste too. You can actually just copy this, and let's say I want to track the initial count, right? I want to be able to track that because that's my way to know that, oh, this was one and now it's two.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go paste it, and so it's pretty much just paste it right there, and then I can call that my ticket count. Let's say that's our initial ticket count, and then what I'm going to do is go ahead and track, do a copy of this as well, so I can display my initial count. And let me go ahead and redo that. Looks like I didn't paste it. Okay, there it is. So let's do show ticket count right here. You can add some text to it, so we can say, and this is going to be our final count. And so this time we're going to try and reduce the speed a little bit so we can kind of step through and see what's happening. So we have that. So what I'm going to do is stop at step 9, to see if it actually captured that count, and then we'll stop at 14 as well.
All right.
And I'm going to move this up a little bit so that I actually can see it right after it captured. Okay, so now let's go play this. It's actually capturing. I'm going to head back to the IDE window, and I'm going to pause when it actually hits number 9. So it's still capturing the click. Okay, so let's do that. So it did, so I can see that this actually did run fine. That's an okay. So that tells me that it was able to capture. Now, if we actually go to the app, that's what it, just find this is the state it's in. You know, it's a completely new one. It captured that value right there. And then now let's go back and let's continue. And we're just going to let it run through. I'm going to stop at 16 just to make sure it does show a count of 2. Okay, so we have that. And then you can see that in the app, it actually did increment the count to 2. Now, what does our test results say? So this tells me the final count is 2.
All right, so Geetha has shown us how to automate the testing of our Power Apps and then took it to the next level to show us how we can actually even get inputs out of that testing. Geetha, that was rad. I think my mind is full of possibilities. I'm sure everyone at home's mind is full of possibilities. What do you think are some quick ways that people can put this tech to work, like some common things that they can do?
Yeah, I think definitely just make sure that, you know, everyone reads the prerequisites to make sure that you have all your installations going on fine, and then just watch a few. If you're totally new to Selenium IDE and you know you've never done these kind of automated testing before, just make sure that you go read the documents. It's not hard to ramp up on. It's pretty intuitive because it's all like point, click, and record, right? So
Totally.
start with something small. Try to record a pretty small business process that you would want to, you know, automate and replicate, and then see how it works, and then go play around with adding input variables and outputs and things like that. And now this does open up other opportunities too, because you can call this from another flow as well. So, you know, if you have the gateway installed, you can call it from another flow. It can be a button flow or event flow. So whenever, let's say, a bug fix has been dropped, you know, imagine like you have a DevOps process and you mark the DevOps process as, oh, it's complete, the bug fix is done. You can totally go and call this UI flow on the fly, and it's going to automate all the test process. So if you actually look at it, there is a very high level of sophistication you can come up with for automating and testing your apps.
Totally. All right, guys. Well, that's it from us for today. Make sure to check the description and follow Geetha on her blog and on Twitter. Go ahead and click like if this video was valuable to you. Leave us some comments about what we should do next. Get subscribed to the channel and have a great day. Much love from me.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me, and I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with and all the different ideas that people have after watching this video.
Absolutely. We'll see you later.